What's neat about Braille, as Priscilla explained earlier, is that it's the arrangement of 6 dots. And we actually number these dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in columns, 1, 2, 3 going down, 4, 5, 6 going down. Just in terms of thinking about the arrangements, we number them. But with varying number of dots, you can make up the letters of the alphabet, but the arrangements actually form 63 different arrangements of dots. The alphabet, which is what we'll focus on today, and let me remove some of these. Just a half of an egg carton here and some ping pong balls to demonstrate. What's neat about Braille is that there is a pattern. You know, it very much does work like a code. The first 10 letters of the alphabet use the top 4 dots. And what I'm showing right here in that one position is the letter A. So if you're reading along and you feel that dot that's in the topmost left corner, you know it's the letter A. If you're reading and you feel 2 dots, one that's in the 1 position and one that's in the 2 position, you've got a B. 1 and 4, sort of a feeling of dots going across, is a C. That is a D, 1, 4, 5. The letter E.
1 and 5.
1 and 5, yes.
Yay!
F is 1, 2, and 4. G uses all 4. So 1, 2, 4, and 5. H, 1, 2, and 5. I is 2 and 5.
And 4.
2 and 4.
2 and 4.
I showed 2 and 4. I said 2 and 5. And J is 2, 4, 5.
Sound complicated? It's not.
It's not. And it's just
It is
learning
very easy.
with training your fingers to recognize and just thinking. And sometimes we have to go back to when we're children, and the letter A is, what is a letter A? A circle with a loop coming off of it? I mean, it's things that don't really follow any sort of pattern, comparing an A to a B to a C, but as children we still learn them and
recognize them.
And recognize them. And the same thing happens here, and we train our fingers to recognize that shape. What I think is really neat, or we as blind people think is really neat about Braille, is going back to that letter A, that was a dot 1. Once we get A through J, you start over just by adding a dot 3, which is that bottom dot. So the pattern repeats itself. So just like the letter B was 1, 2, the letter L, which would come after K, would be 1, 2, L is 1, 2, 3. And that repeats itself. So, I mean, there is sort of a systematic or logical pattern to Braille. And that goes just all the way through the alphabet. And once you get past T, so getting to the letter U, again, it's that letter A, that 1 dot, plus the 3 dot, plus the 6 dot. And that pattern remains for the entire alphabet, except for the letter W, as the French didn't have a W in their alphabet. So it's out of pattern. But that's just part of the whole system. And I can put up an alphabet card to sort of show.
And then I don't know about you and Priscilla, but when I was learning Braille, you know, I developed my own little sing-song things like Y is all but the 2, and Z is all but the I, or something like that.
Right. And for myself, like I had learned print by sight, I'd actually visualize the similarities between the arrangement of dots and the printed letter. But what's interesting as I got to the point that I was reading Braille daily, and as we think about spelling words and reading words, even in our mind, I had always been thinking of words in print until one day I started thinking of them in Braille. And I still, to this day, I often, when I'm spelling, I spell in Braille. But I go in between as, using computers, I often think more in print, but when I'm writing, think more in Braille dots.
Right.
Okay, well that's, and another example, people may be wondering about numbers. Another thing that's sort of logical to Braille is the number sign in Braille is 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that in front of the letters A through J create the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 0. So just putting that number sign in front of what you'd think as those letters is how we create numbers.
I just remember, I remember learning to read Braille, and they gave me, when I lost my sight when my son was born, and I was determined to be able to read to him. They gave you these books, and they had the raised letters, like the A, and then they'd have the Braille symbol next to it, and then, the B and stuff. And so starting out, they just focus on A and B, so like A, B, A, ab, and then it was cab, and then it was dab, and anything that could have the first 4 letters and then the first 5, and it was always interesting when I finally got to a whole entire sentence. It was like had enough letters to read a whole sentence, which was kind of cool. But
Do you remember the first time you read a whole entire sentence and you were like so excited?
Yeah.
I was so excited when I first got to my first sentence.
And again, we were adults, and we really did. It was exciting as being little kids when you're first learning to read a book, and it's that exciting. One of the things that makes Braille even more useful for us as blind people is that it has sort of what we think of as a shorthand. Like I said, there's 26 letters of the alphabet, and so that would be 26 of the 63 possibilities of arranging the dots. What I'm showing up here now is all 6 dots. In Braille, if you're going across the page and you feel that under your finger, it's actually the word for, F-O-R. And what's neat about Braille is, say in the word formula, you have the F-O-R. You could actually use this in front and then put an M-U-L-A at the end. Or say it's transformation. It's in the middle of a word. It still can be used. And that shortens up Braille and speeds up the possibility. We call this contracted and uncontracted Braille. The uncontracted would be just using the alphabet to write out F-O-R, which many people use. And learning the alphabet is critical. I mean, that's the first step in the literacy, and really being able to speed that up to read and to write quickly, you would learn what's called contracted Braille. That, for example, is the word and. And it's not all just words. There's parts of words like,
well then, go ahead.
You
also have B for but, C for can, D for do. E for every. I never understood that quite, but EF.
Is it every or everything?
It's every.
Every.
G is go, H is have, I is I,
right.
J is just, K is knowledge.
Which makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
No would make sense.
But if you had to write out knowledge, uncontracted.
Yeah, that's true.
And actually, there is an abbreviation for no. It's the dot 5 by itself with the letter K